Welcome back. Time for video 7. And today we're going to talk about the process that you're going to work, which is really going to start to crystallize the simplicity of the work for you. Hopefully you did your homework and you really dug into the benefits of what you're doing, because that helps you greatly to understand the incredible value that you are bringing to someone. And I think I've hit that pretty hard so far. So today I want to jump into the process. This is just a process. If you think about it, everything has a process. And as long as you know the process works, it's just a function of working the process. So let me give you a little analogy of the farmer that will kind of help you really get a feel for this. So if you think about a farmer, what does a farmer do? Well, the first thing that a farmer does is they prepare the soil, right? That's the first thing that the farmer will do. In the spring, let's assume that this is, the summer season, late winter, early spring, they start to prepare the soil, right? And then once the time is right, then they plant, right? They plant the seed. And so once they planted the seed, what they understand about the seed, right, is that not every seed produces. Some of the seeds don't even take root. Others take root and come up a little bit and then die off. And then there are other ones that take root and grow and grow and grow, and then some seeds produce more than others. Pretty standard stuff, right? So then during the season, right, the essentially the farmer will protect it, right? They're going to protect and nurture that crop, right? So that's what they do. They get the weeds out of there. They make sure that nothing's going on. They protect it as it's growing and nurture it and prune it and do whatever they've got to do. And then as a result of that, ultimately, they're going to have a harvest, right? And then they follow that cycle all over again the next year. That is what the farmer does every year. The farmer never says, I wonder if this will work, right? And some seasons are better than others, right? That's the nature of farming. But it's always about a process that they trust, okay? So this is a really important concept to get, because it takes a lot of the stress out of having to be a performer, having to be excellent. The beautiful thing about the process of our work is it follows this same track, and you don't have to be a pro at it. You don't even have to be very good at it. Matter of fact, you're not going to be very good at it to start, but that doesn't matter because the need for what you have is so great. So let me walk you through how that relates to the work that you're doing. So the preparation of the soil is similar to the approach. That is making a contact, letting someone know that you have something that may help them, right? All you're finding out in this first step is someone interested in learning about something that could help them? That's really all it is. And then the second step, the planting, that's the seed, right? The seed is the information that you're going to provide. It's your story and whatever tools that you might use, but it's how the prospect is going to understand what you have to offer and how it might be beneficial for them. All right, pretty simple stuff. And then down here, the protect area, protect and nurture, that's the follow-up stage. That's where you're continuing to help this prospect understand what's going on, whether or not this fits for them, answering their questions, helping them I call it filling in the holes in their information. And the way I teach, it's so simple, anybody can do it. And then the fourth step would be harvest. And in this case, the harvest is sponsoring and then serving that person, right? And the way I teach the harvest, the sponsoring, it's not the close, right? It's not the close. And I get that we can use that word, closing them, right? But really, it's the open. It's the open of a new element of the relationship. It takes it to a different level, because when someone says yes, this is your opportunity to serve them, right? This is where you really can make an impact. You can't really make much of an impact in someone's life until you've actually sponsored them or enrolled them as a customer. That's your chance to influence them and help them and move them along into a way that makes their life better. And that's pretty cool, because that's where the real fruit is. I didn't mean to make that part of the harvest, but that's just how it kind of came out. Okay, so important to understand, the process in our case is only a conversation. That's all it is. It's a conversation, and then everything happens as a result of that. And you get to decide how long that conversation goes. Because what you know is human nature says not everybody's going to jump on your offer even if they need it. Matter of fact, statistically, 2 out of 10 people who need to do something right now and know that they need to do something right now are ready to do something right now. So you're just identifying the 2 and putting the other 8 into awareness. You'll come back to them later. And I teach all that more deeply in my training systems, the blueprint process and all that kinds of stuff. But this just is giving you some understanding for now. So first thing, behavior. So remember, the need is great. People need what you have to offer. They need solutions, and more so now than at any time. And so you need to help them be comfortable. And so how do you do that? Well, first of all, what I teach differentiates you in the approach. I teach to be kind, to be honest, to be respectful, and use no pressure. Because if you think about this, if someone needs to do something, right, and they're actively thinking about it, they don't need someone to tell them to do it. And what would stop them from wanting to learn about something that could possibly help them? Being uncomfortable, right? Having fear. And that's where things like a pressure approach or a super scripted approach or, something that just doesn't feel right makes someone go, in the back of their mind, like, wow, it might be good, but I don't know. That's just the reality of it. And so the whole focus in the approach that I teach, and again, being a true introvert, I had to do this, which is how it evolved and how I've helped thousands and thousands of people become really effective in the industry using this simple approach because it's just so gentle. It's a gentle approach. And people can be comfortable to say, okay, it's safe. It's safe. And so you take the curse off, so to speak, and say, hey, if it's not for you, that's totally cool. I think this is a great thing. I'm not giving you the exact words, but that's the context, the feeling of it, because they already have a need and they're trying to solve that need. And so important, you have to be you, right? You have to be you. I'm going to give you structures for what to say, but you have to use your words. You have to speak in your way. You don't want to try to be anybody else because the people that actually know you are going to be like, what's wrong with you? What happened to you? I wouldn't want to do whatever you're doing because it's making you weird, right? So you just try to do something nice for someone. That's really what you're doing. You're not trying to get anything from them. It's the flip side. If they choose to step forward and accept your offer, you're going to actually help them. Nobody else is doing that. You are. So it's a pretty cool thing that you're doing. So here's where you're naturally going to excel. Again, I'm coming to this from the perspective of you're not so extroverted, all right? So you're like me. I'm a pretty deep introvert. Again, you wouldn't notice it because I've worked on it for so long. But where you're going to excel in the approach, it's going to be difficult, all right? That's why I make it as easy as possible for you because you have to do it. But you're really going to excel once you get to the area where you're communicating with them, sharing your story and listening because that's what you do well. Follow up, you're going to really excel in. And so what interestingly enough, what a lot of introverts think is I'm not going to be very good at this, right? When the opposite is true because they're going to excel in the most important areas once they're in a conversation. Being able to listen to someone and help them and guide them along and let them speak. And that's what's happening in the follow-up and in planting the seed. And then even when you sponsor, because they're so comfortable with you, they're going to share with you what they need and allow you to show them how this can do that for them. And that is a really powerful place to be. And so here's the reality. You will become a master prospector. You may never love it, but what I'm going to teach you will make you a master prospector. I know. I became a master prospector. We're literally sponsoring new partners and getting customers became just a process. And so very, very simple. And so it is easier now than ever to prospect because you have the benefit of being able to use social media and direct messaging. When I first started, I didn't have that. I had to do the thing that was absolutely terrifyingly difficult for me. I couldn't send a message to someone and open the door, which showed that they were open because you're really just looking for who's open, right? And I didn't have that. I had to make the phone call. I had to go through all that. And you will want to use the phone, but you have mechanisms now which allow you to get into the approach much more simply. So it's a wonderful time for you to be learning how to work this. But most important, I want you to know how simple this is to work, okay? And then our next video, we're going to dive into approach. So I'm going to give you kind of a map that you can utilize to immediately become effective. So here's your exercise for tonight, or this afternoon, or before the next video, all right? And that is, which areas do feel better for you? Does it feel good to you to make an approach? Does it feel good to you to share with someone? Does it feel good to you to listen and follow up and listen in a one-on-one conversation with someone, maybe by video? Does it feel good to you to listen and invest your energy in that person? You know, do you like to serve, right? Think about those components. And then, so which areas feel better for you? And then how can you use your strengths in those areas? So think about this, and I'm going to give you insights in our next video, but think about that. You know, how can you ask questions and listen in the information stage, which some people will call presentation. I just call it information. You know, what kind of questions would you ask in follow-up, right? What kind of questions would you ask when someone steps forward? This will really help you start to get seated in the actual work, all right? And it should make a big, big difference for you. So, you know, make sure you do your assignments, and, you know, I will see you in tomorrow's video where we start to break down the approach, okay? See you then.